Hey everyone, my name is Chloe and welcome to a fun new video about authors that I want to read more of. So my friend Temecka from Library of Tomes, she asked me last month or sometime, she said, hey, would you want to do a collab in October? She is doing a ton of collaborations with a ton of different booktubers where she just gives us the idea and says, hey, let's both do a video on this. I have not heard her answers. She has not heard mine. We're going to be posting this on the same day. And so it was just really fun. And I am so grateful to her for including me in this. And so the question she gave me was, what are authors you want to read more of? Now, Temecka and I are friends. We kind of have become friends over romance. And so she didn't, I don't think, specifically say romance authors, but I thought I'll give you a list of romance authors and then I'll give you another list of non-romance authors. And so if you're anything like me, I want to read all the things. I want to read so many things and there's just not enough time. And so this video is going to be partially me telling you authors I want to read more of, partially busting myself out for all the authors that I know I am sleeping on, and just exposing how big my TBR is, because truthfully, there are not enough days. I want to read so many different authors and so many different titles, and so let's just dive into them. So the 10 romance authors, the first one I'm going to start with is Colleen Hoover. I have read a handful of hers, but she has such a backlist, and I feel like she is an author that I put her in the romance category, but you can't really put her in a box. Like, we are reading Verity for the Book Sisters Book Club for this month, which is a thriller. I have the Slammed trilogy on my shelf, which is a YA. She has written new adult, everything. Like, I feel like she has written everything. So while I have read some of hers, I feel like I have not even scraped the surface. So Colleen Hoover, Denise Hunter. Now, I don't think I have read anything by her, but Nicole from the Girly Girl Bookworm and my sister both love her. And my sister, I don't know if you have watched this channel, but she is kind of a minimalist, and so she unhauls a lot of books to me. And she said at one point, I will never unhaul my very favorites. And within that, she said, my Denise Hunter collection, I will never unhaul. However, she changed her mind and she unhauled it and gave them all to me. So Denise Hunter is one that I have not read. I've heard so many great things about. I think she's a pretty clean author, a romance author. I'm not for sure. But Denise Hunter for sure. Quinn, she is one, she's on Kindle Unlimited, and she writes all sorts of things, but what I really want to read is her series of baseball romances. And so they are all companions, the lineup, the trade something, I don't know, there's a whole line of them. And I love sports romances, specifically baseball romances. Nothing says spring more to me than reading a baseball romance. And I slept on it this spring, so I think I'm going to wait until next spring. But like I said, all of her books are on Kindle Unlimited, so I feel like I need to just try her out because I think I'm going to love her. The subject matter of all of her books sounds so interesting, and I've heard great things. I don't know why I'm sleeping on Quinn. Next is Tennant. She is a British author, and she kind of, I would say, toes the line between romance and women's fiction, but she's always got the cutest, UK covers, and she writes so many, I would say she's that weird combination of chick lit, women's fiction, romance, kind of all rolled into one. And if I just did a video on women's fiction, so I will link that somewhere so you can understand why I said the weird combination of those. But my friend Sarah from the book Schnitter, she loves them, Tennant books, and so I feel like I need to give Tennant more of a chance. I have read one of her books and I really enjoyed it, and so I have one, I think, on my shelf, but that is it. So I need to try some Tennant. Next is Rae and Thane. I feel like Rae and Thane is one of the big names in romance. We've got Debbie Macomber, we've got Susan Mallory, we've got Susan Wiggs, we've got Brenda Novak, and we have Rae and Thane. That's not a conclusive list, but that's just a list. I feel like she's in league with those people. And yet I have never read one of hers. And hers, too, I think are all clean. So, for me, I don't like a whole lot of smut in my books. I can handle some, but too much is just too much. And so I would love to try Rae and Thane. Next is Kennedy Ryan, another Kindle Unlimited author. Not all of her stuff is on Kindle Unlimited, but I have heard nothing but great things. And again, every summary that I read sounds so good. Why am I sleeping on her? I don't know. And so that one I really, really need to get on. Next is Tracy Garber's Graves. Now, she is, I would say, one of my favorites, but I was looking through and I've only read 3 or 4 of her books. And so I really want to read her backlist. Her backlist is manageable. I think there's like 8 or 9 books, so I could very easily read the rest of it. But she also writes YA and adult romances, and I would love to read the rest of hers. Next is Britney C Cherry. You guys, if you have watched this channel at all, you know I love her, but I have only read, I think 5 or 6 of her books, and she's got like 13 or 14 maybe, and she just keeps coming out with them, and so I've got to catch up on her backlist. I want to read more of hers because the lowest I've rated hers is 4 stars. I just think she can do no wrong. Next is Chloe Lisey, something like that. So my friend Morgan from Nothing Better Than a Book really likes her. Bree from In Love and Words also likes her, and like I feel like she's one of those authors that you don't hear a whole lot about, but when you do, it's like very high praise. And so I am like having FOMO. I need to know, who is this girl? What is she writing? Will I love it? Because they all sound good. So Chloe Lisey is another one. And then last is Penny Reed. She has also written a series that sounds so sweet, so cute. I know hers do get a little steamier, but it's okay. I know a lot of people love her series, and I just really need to see what the hype is all about. So those are 10 romance authors, and that some I have read some of, some I've read none, and that I just really want to read more of. Then 5 non-romance authors are Riley Sager. I have never read I've never read a Wiley. Oh my goodness. I have never read a Riley Sager. Why is that so hard to say? I don't know. But he writes, or I think it's he. Yeah, he writes thrillers, and his are like booktube darlings. They are just super hyped everywhere. And I, again, want to know what all the hype's about. Like, I've got FOMO over here. I've got to pick up a Riley Sager. Next is Rachel Kane. She is most known for the Stillhouse Lake series, and I have not read it, and I want to, and it's on Kindle Unlimited. And I know Rachel Kane has been diagnosed with cancer, and I believe it is terminal, and so I really just want to support her while I can, and just see, first of all, I've heard this series is a wonderful thriller series, so I really want to pick up some Rachel Kane. Next is B.A. Paris. So I have read a few of her books, and I've loved everything. Again, she's got a small and manageable backlist, so I really want to read more of hers to make her one that I can like be up to date on. Next is Jenny Han. So I read the Summer I Turned Pretty series, and then I think I've read like 1 or 2 more from her. To All the Boys I Loved Before, but I feel like I've read a standalone or 2. Anyway, I feel like she does YA in a way that I love. So Sarah Dessen is another one. Like, I've read most of Sarah Dessen's when I'm ever, and like Morgan Matson, when I'm craving a YA, I feel like there's a handful of authors that do it so well. And I feel like Jenny Han is one of the best, and I really want to dive more into her backlist. And then last is Sarah Addison Allen. So I've heard a little bit about her here and there, but Krista from Books and Jams, she was reading one that sounded so good. And I talked to her, and she said it's like fiction with a small magical realism element, but in a way that's not so like outlandish or like over the top that you kind of lose credibility. And so I'm really intrigued. I've heard other people talk about her too, but magical realism is kind of hit and miss for me. And so knowing that it's just kind of like sprinkled in sounds really good. And so Sarah Addison Allen is another one that I really want to try. So there are just 15 authors that I want to read more of, but you guys, I could be here all day and tell you authors I want to read more of. Especially this year, I have taken on the project of trying to just read off my shelves, which means I'm kind of like stuck in a rut in what authors I'm reading. But Kindle Unlimited, I've got to, like, there's so many indie authors on Kindle Unlimited that I want to check out, and all of these people, and just so many authors. So thank you again to Temecka for including me in these collab videos, and I cannot wait to hear who she says, because she does read a lot more of the indie authors. So I'm interested to see if there's more indie, more traditional published, like what does she want to read? So I can't wait. Go check her video out. And again, thank you for watching. Thank you for including me. We'll talk to you in the next one.